is how divide and conquer works. If you got the black community split into 35 different factions, then taking down one faction is not hard to do.
That's right.
So taking them down as a mighty fist, or like one finger individually is not very strong, but a whole fist is very difficult to defeat. And I'll tell you, that's why you guys, when I'm talking, to you guys that are listening, that's why I told you all, I'm not fighting with no black people in 2019. Not because there ain't no pebbles being thrown, not because there ain't no trifling people out here. I might have a lot to say when I'm off the camera, but when I'm really thinking about, like, okay, what is the goal here? Is my goal to get revenge on this black person who said something about me that I didn't like, or is my goal to actually elevate black people? And that's the first thing I notice. The other thing I notice is that a lot of us, I say us, who have been able to use digital technology to connect with lots of people around the world, who's resonate with our message. Sometimes we can get full of ourselves.
Yes.
All our time, I'm on here ranting and raving about some Negro on another YouTube channel who said something about me and whatever. And I noticed one thing I noticed is that most of the people listening, a lot of them just don't care.
Right.
A lot of them are like, I don't care if you got a beef with so and so. Like I'm here to learn, or I'm here to get something from you, or maybe get something from them. And people will get caught up in this idea that because I think I'm the man, I need everybody to believe I'm the man. And he's saying I'm not the man, and that ain't right. I'm gonna let y'all know I'm the man. Well, maybe ain't none of y'all the man. Y'all just a bunch of Negroes talking on the internet for real. Until the world decides it gives you the honor of considering you otherwise. So I feel that I serve in the capacity I serve at the pleasure of those who will support me. Right. It's like I'm been given a privilege by the community, and I should not abuse that privilege by making this platform a weapon of mass destruction that I can unleash all of my enemies that I have petty differences with. And so I think about that because I think about this when I see some of the activists fighting. And I don't want to even say any names because I don't want anybody to feel like this is personal about them. But sometimes you'll see that, and sometimes I really want to tell them, just stop it. Just either talk about it behind closed doors, or don't talk about it at all. Just let the differences fall where they may. And one thing I respect about the Nation of Islam is that you have a code and process for dealing with differences and disputes. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit, to the part that you feel comfortable sharing? Because I think the community.
Well, this the divine formula of conflict resolution that we were given by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad starts in a few verses from the Quran, where it says, number one, think good of your brother first. Number two, whenever an unrighteous person brings you bad news, look carefully into it, lest you harm a person out of ignorance and regret what you did. Then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad took that verse from the Quran to another level, and he said this. He said, anytime somebody brings you bad news, look more at the bringer of the news than who the news is about. What he's telling us is that anybody that will gossip to you will gossip about you. So anybody that brings news that is negative, number one, you got to look at them funny, more so than the person they're talking about. Number two, you have to be careful that you don't take it as a fact, lest you harm a person out of ignorance and regret what you did. So our code is that whenever there is a difference with one another, the first thing that we do is pull two people together. And if they feel like their emotions are level enough that they can do it on their own, then they do. If not, they feel like then we have a mediator. And we say a prayer, and we pray that at the end of this, not argument, but discussion. There's a big difference between an argument and discussion. An argument is when you go back and forth to find out who is right, but a discussion is when you go back and forth to find out what is right. Brothers and sisters of one another should never argue. Husbands and wives should never argue. We should have discussions. come to the table to find out what is right. And when that what is made known, if I got to give up some of my what and you got to give up some of yours, we come to an agreement and we pray before we start the meeting that God blesses us to leave this session closer brothers or sisters with one another.